Hello, Professor and class. This is Giovanni. For today's presentation, I will be analyzing Los Angeles County current domestic violence policy and examining alternative approaches that may reduce the rate of intimate partner violence within the county. I will begin with a brief problem analysis and identification of key stakeholders. I will then describe the current policy framework, including anticipated outcomes and budget structure. Next, I will present two alternative policy options, including their anticipated outcomes, timelines, and projected budgets. I will conclude with an evaluation matrix, justification, and final recommendation. In 2024, Los Angeles County reported 36,720 domestic violence related calls for services. Of those, 22,858 involved a weapon. Among weapon-related incidents, 611 involved a firearm, 1,030 involved a knife, and 3,613 involved personal weapons such as hands or bodily force. In addition to law enforcement calls, the county's domestic violence hotline received 6,123 calls in 2023, suggesting that official reports represent only a portion of the problem. Prevalence data further illustrates the scope of the issue. Approximately 1 in 4 cisgender women and 1 in 7 cisgender men and 1 in 2 transgender individuals report experiencing intimate partner violence. Collectively, this data demonstrates that intimate partner violence remains both a public safety and public health concern in Los Angeles County. The primary stakeholders are victims and survivors of domestic violence, including children exposed to long-term trauma. Other stakeholders include service providers such as Connection for Abused Women and Their Children and Peace Over Violence. Government stakeholders include the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors, law enforcement agencies, courts, and the Department of Public Health. The current policy for intimate partner violence in Los Angeles County is grounded in California Penal Code sections 273.5, 2243, and 13730, as well as Family Code sections 6200 through 6409. This framework emphasizes arrest, prosecution, mandatory batterers intervention programs, and protective orders. While the system provides strong enforcement tools and civil protection, it primarily operates after violence has occurred and is centered on criminal justice intervention. The intended outcomes of this policy is deterrence and a reduction in reported incidents. Budgetary enforcement costs are embedded within law enforcement agency, court operations, and probation supervision. These expenses fall under existing public safety budgets at the city, county, and state level. The first alternative shifts the county's approach from reactive enforcement to primary prevention and early intervention. This model implements school-based healthy relationship education in middle and high school, beginning at high-risk areas, now in collaboration with public health agency and nonprofit partners. Anticipated outcomes include reduced first-time partner violence incidents, increased awareness of healthy relationship norms, lower long-term recidivism, and a gradual reduction in domestic violence calls. Now, the timeline includes a one-year pilot in 10 high-risk schools, followed by an expansion over the next 2 to 3 years, with measurable outcomes evaluated by years 3 to 5. Now, there is a curriculum that is produced by Hazelden called the Safe Days Curriculum, which costs approximately $395 per school site. Now, in a 10-school pilot, that would require about $4,000 in material, including training, staffing, and evaluation. The estimated annual pilot cost is approximately $200,000. Now, this represents a low-cost, scalable prevention strategy. The next alternative takes a structural approach by addressing two major predicators of intimate partner violence: economic instability and lower educational attainment. This model expands workforce development opportunities, increase access to GED and vocational training, and strengthen coordination between domestic violence services and employment programs. Anticipated outcomes include increased economic independence among survivors, reduced financial dependency on abused partners, lower repeat victimization rates, and long-term reduction in intimate partner violence prevalence. The timeline mirrors that of the previous alternative, 1 year for the pilot implementation, followed by an expansion over the 2 to 3 years with measurable outcomes within 3 to 5 years. Now, Los Angeles County already operates a workforce support through the GAIN program under CalWORKS. However, it is not structured as a trauma-informed program specifically tailored to intimate partner violence. Rather than creating a new system, this proposal formalizes a dedicated intimate partner violence focused track within GAIN. The estimated pilot cost is between $900,000 to $1.2 million annually, based on staffing, training, coordination, and flexible employment support funds. Consistent with the evaluative criteria discussed in Chapter 6 of our textbook, this analysis prioritizes effectiveness, efficiency, equity, and political feasibility. Effectiveness is weighed most heavily because the primary objective of any domestic violence policy is a measurable reduction in incidents. Efficiency is crucial given the fiscal constraints at the county level and the need to allocate limited public resources strategically. Equity is included because the intimate partner violence disproportionately impacts vulnerable populations, including women, transgender individuals, and lower income communities. Political feasibility is considered because even the most evidence-based policies cannot succeed without institutional and public support. Now, each policy alternative is scored on a scale from 1 to 5, with 1 representing the lowest performance and 5 the highest. This evaluation matrix should be applied at the conclusion of the first pilot year, again during the third and the fifth years to assess both the short and long-term effectiveness. Now, my recommendation is to begin with the prevention and education integration policy. Prevention offers the greatest long-term return on investment by addressing intimate partner violence before it occurs. Empirical research demonstrates that school-based relationships education programs reduce first-time dating violence incidents and shift social norms over time. Additionally, this alternative is the most cost-efficient, with an estimated annual pilot cost of approximately $200,000. In a fiscally constrained environment, a low-cost, evidence-based prevention pilot is both politically feasible and scalable. By investing in early intervention, Los Angeles County can take a proactive approach that reduces long-term criminal justice costs and improves community safety outcomes. This concludes my presentation. God bless.